One side started as a small ripple, the other a brand to find out who will be WWE's next big superstar. The small ripple in question is three friends who decided to start posting vlogs about their wrestling career on their YouTube channel. Of course, the three friends are Kenny Omega, Matt Jackson, and Nick Jackson, also known as the Elite. They would never know what they would have in 4 years' time, and if you were to ask them, they probably wouldn't say a huge wrestling company. They would continue to post vlogs all the way up until 4 years later, and they still do. And in early 2018, themselves, Cody, along with a few other people, like Hangman Adam Page, Chris Jericho, who were some of the first wrestlers to sign with the company, started All Elite Wrestling. The first pay-per-view was Double or Nothing in May of 2019, and the main event, or the big match of that card, was Dustin Rhodes taking on his brother Cody. Cody will pick up the victory, but after the end of the match, there was an emotional moment as Cody asks his brother a favor to help him run the company. They started Dynamite, which was their weekly show, in October, but during that summer of 2019, they would have their all-out pay-per-view. Very successful pay-per-view, and it crowned their first ever AEW World Champion, Le Champion, Chris Jericho. Dynamite was now a weekly running show starting October the 2nd, and it was already going up in the ratings, hitting almost 1 million every week in the States, in Canada, even the United Kingdom. NXT kind of started as a development brand to find out who was WWE's next big talent. Winners included Wade Barrett, Johnny Curtis, also known now as Fandango, Caval, and a couple of others. Now, the winners of NXT of those seasons never really became too many big stars in WWE, which was kind of surprising. A lot of people thought they would, but they didn't. A few years later, NXT would become a weekly show, kind of like a Raw or SmackDown, but now it was for still a development brand, of course, to find out who is WWE's next big superstar, but it was kind of more like a Raw or SmackDown kind of show. They had a tournament to decide who will be their first champion, and Seth Rollins became the first ever NXT champion. And now Seth Rollins was pretty much the first big superstar to come out of NXT. After that, NXT will start on the WWE Network. No live shows yet, as it was taped from Full Sail Arena in Orlando. And of course, the ratings weren't too high. Of course, being on the WWE Network, not a lot of people had the network. But a few years later, after gaining a lot of popularity, NXT would move to USA Network to rival with AEW Dynamite. NXT actually started streaming on USA Network a few weeks earlier than Dynamite started to, but October 2nd is when the Wednesday Night War really began. There was two great faces, two great champions to lead both brands. In NXT, there was Adam Cole, who went on to become the longest reigning NXT champion, and in AEW, there was Chris Jericho. At the start, NXT looked like they were going to lead, but then AEW just took charge, and they began to lead. Unfortunately for NXT, they don't have TV in Canada. Unfortunately for me, I cannot watch NXT live. But that brings my attention to AEW. AEW, I almost watch live every week, and at the start of Dynamite, I didn't watch AEW a lot. I usually just watched NXT if I could. Anyways, now pretty much in April is when I started AEW, and they've blown it away. Like, not to say NXT's started to get bad, still watch NXT. NXT's blowing me away too. I love both of them. But right now, AEW's really got the upper hand, and they're bringing in the ratings. Again, hitting a million. NXT hasn't done that for a while, unfortunately. But Dynamite is a tough show to beat. Now moving on to the women's divisions of both brands. AEW didn't really have a good women's division to start with compared to NXT's stacked women's division. NXT was led by Shayna Baszler at the time of the Wednesday Night War really started, and also had Candice LeRae, Rhea Ripley, Mia Yim, Dakota Kai, Tegan Knox, along with a bunch of other great women's wrestlers. AEW was led by Nyla Rose and also Dr. Britt Baker, Rio, who is also really good in the women's division, young talent, a couple more, but AEW, again, didn't really have a huge women's division when they first started. But now, everything's changed. They got a good women's division to counter NXT. But right now, I'll still give the upper hand to NXT's women's division. First, NXT's young talent pretty much consisted of people like the Velveteen Dream, Angel Garza, Austin Theory, a couple others, but those are the big young talent names. Meanwhile, AEW had pretty much guys like Jungle Boy, Marco Stunt. They would later sign Ricky Starks, which wasn't until a couple months later, but many others in AEW that are young currently. Of course, they are just getting started, so that's pretty much a good reason why start young. NXT doesn't have too many young talent again. AEW's definitely got the upper hand in young talent, but don't count out the big guys of NXT. Keith Lee, Dominic Dijakovic, Bronson Reed, super athletic, representing NXT. Keith Lee's a current NXT champion and the first ever NXT double champion. Meanwhile, AEW, not too many of the bigger guys leading their company, mostly young, but still great talent on NXT. They got the upper hand in some things, meanwhile AEW has upper hand in the other things, which makes a good Wednesday Night War, because when you think back to WCW and Monday Night Raw back in the 90s, old days, very good talent on both sides. You didn't know which one to tune in, you didn't know which one to support, and it's fine to support both. I honestly watch both. I like both. Maybe I like NXT a little bit more because I've been watching it longer. But again, because AEW really didn't start until the fall of 2019. So they got some catching up to do. Anyways, NXT's got the upper hand from me. Let me know what you guys think. That's today's video. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.